Andrew Tate is a man who wears many masks. Kickboxing champion, self-made millionaire, internet provocateur. But beneath the bravado lies something far more compelling, a reflection of the modern man's deepest struggles and unspoken desires. He didn't just rise to fame. He erupted into the cultural conversation like a lit match in a room full of gas, sparking equal parts admiration and outrage. Some see him as a truth-teller, a rebel who exposes the soft underbelly of a society that's left men feeling directionless. Others brand him a toxic influencer, a symbol of unchecked arrogance. But love him or hate him, one thing's undeniable: he struck a nerve. And that's what matters. Not the man, but why his message spreads like wildfire in the hearts of so many. We're not here to defend or condemn him. This is about psychology, not morality. Why does a generation of young men, drowning in mental health crises, fatherless upbringings, and a culture that often shames traditional masculinity, cling to his words like a lifeline? Because Tate sells something rare today: certainty. In a world where men are told to apologize for their ambition, their strength, even their biology, he offers a script, a way to reclaim power. His infamous matrix rhetoric isn't just a catchy metaphor, it's a mirror. When he says the system is rigged, that comfort is a trap, that most people are slaves to mediocrity, it resonates because it feels true to those scrolling through life unfulfilled. Think about it. How many young men have been handed participation trophies but no purpose? Told to be vulnerable but never taught to be resilient? They're starving for direction, and Tate serves a full-course meal, even if it's controversial. His appeal isn't about right or wrong. It's about the raw human hunger for identity. When a boy doesn't know what it means to be a man, he'll follow anyone who claims to have the answer. So ask yourself, if his message is so toxic, why does it spread? What void does it fill? And what does that say about the world we've built? There's a deep, unspoken ache in the modern man, a feeling that something vital has been stripped away. Andrew Tate's philosophy didn't create this void, it simply exposed it. He argues that masculinity is under siege, and whether you agree with him or not, you can't deny the truth in his diagnosis. Look around. Boys are raised in a world that often demonizes raw ambition, physical grit, and unapologetic confidence. Stoicism, once a virtue, is now labeled repression. Strength is misread as aggression. And independence? That's seen as selfishness. But here's the uncomfortable question. What happens when you take away a man's sense of purpose? He either withers or rebels. Tate's answer to this crisis is uncompromising. Reject passivity. Destroy the victimhood mentality. Stop confusing emotional awareness with fragility. His rhetoric isn't subtle because the problem isn't subtle. We've built a society that prioritizes comfort over conquest, safety over strength. Men are drowning in a sea of mediocrity, pacified by endless scrolling, cheap dopamine, and a culture that tells them they're fine just as they are, no effort required. But deep down, they know the truth. Growth comes from struggle. Respect is earned, not given. And real masculinity isn't about dominance, it's about ownership. Ownership of your life, your failures, your relentless pursuit of something greater. This is why Tate's message, for all its controversy, sticks. It's a wake-up call. He didn't invent the idea that challenge breeds strength. He just packaged it in a way that shocks men awake. Think about it. When was the last time you voluntarily embraced discomfort, pushed yourself to the limit, took full responsibility for your life without blaming the world? That's the real core of his philosophy. Not the flashy cars or the bravado, but the raw, unfiltered demand that men become more. So ask yourself, are you running toward resistance or away from it? Because the antidote to weakness isn't just lifting weights or making money. It's choosing every single day to fight for the best version of yourself. The modern world has become a temple of comfort, plush seats, instant meals, endless entertainment at our fingertips. But Andrew Tate's message cuts through the illusion like a knife. Comfort is the enemy of greatness. His mantra, "Suffer now to enjoy later," isn't just a motivational quote. It's a brutal truth disguised as a challenge. Think about it. When was the last time you truly pushed yourself beyond what was easy? Not because you had to, but because you chose to. There's a reason his words hit so hard. Deep down, we all know that real growth doesn't happen in the safe zone. It happens in the grind, the struggle, the moments when every fiber of your being screams to quit, but you keep going anyway. This philosophy isn't new. It's the same principle that built empires, forged champions, and turned ordinary men into legends. Delayed gratification is the ultimate superpower in a world addicted to quick fixes. Why? Because it rewires your brain. Every time you choose discipline over distraction, hardship over convenience, you're not just building wealth or muscle, you're building mental armor. Tate's infamous line, "Nobody's coming to save you," isn't meant to discourage. It's meant to awaken. It's a call to radical self-reliance. No government, no parent, no luck will hand you the life you want. It's on you. And that realization isn't cruel. It's liberating. Because if it's all on you, then you hold the power to change it. Pain isn't the enemy. Avoiding pain is. Every great man in history, from warriors to entrepreneurs, understood that suffering is a rite of passage. It's the fire that tempers steel. When you embrace hardship instead of running from it, something shifts inside you. You stop fearing obstacles and start seeing them as fuel. So ask yourself, what have you been avoiding because it's hard? What excuses have you made to stay small? The path to more strength, more success, more self-respect, is paved with discomfort. Will you walk it, or will you stay where it's safe and regret it later? The choice is yours, but remember, every day you spend in comfort is a day you trade for the life you could have had. Money isn't just paper, it's power. Not the kind that corrupts, but the kind that liberates. Andrew Tate didn't just chase wealth, he weaponized it. His philosophy flips society's script. Money isn't the end goal, it's the leverage to live life on your terms. Think about it. What's the point of $1 million if you're still trapped by fear, obligation, or someone else's rules? Real wealth isn't displayed in Lamborghinis, though Tate certainly does. It's measured in control. Control of your time, your choices, your future. That's why Hustler's University and his business rants hit a nerve. They're not about get-rich-quick schemes. They're about rewriting your relationship with money. If you're poor, it's your fault isn't just a brutal soundbite. It's a call to arms. It forces the question, what excuses are you making instead of making moves? But let's dissect this, not just swallow it whole. Yes, personal responsibility matters, but is it really that simple? Systemic barriers exist. Luck plays a role. Yet fixating on that misses the point. High achievers share one toxic trait, obsession. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They build momentum through sheer force of will. Multiple income streams? That's not greed, it's survival. In a world where jobs vanish overnight, diversification isn't strategy, it's oxygen. Tate's unapologetic capitalism grates on some because it exposes an uncomfortable truth. Passivity is the real poverty. Every dollar you didn't earn, every risk you didn't take, is a brick in the cage of mediocrity. So where's the balance? Take the hunger, the relentless self-belief that you can outwork, outthink, outmaneuver, but leave the blind spots. Wealth without wisdom is a ticking bomb. The real lesson here isn't about bank accounts, it's about ownership. Not just of your finances, but of your mindset. Are you investing in excuses or assets? Waiting for permission or creating your own? Money won't fix you, but the man you become chasing it just might. The market doesn't care about your feelings. So ask yourself, what's more painful? The grind of building something, or the regret of never trying? Andrew Tate's take on male-female dynamics is a Molotov cocktail thrown into the culture war. Explosive, divisive, and impossible to ignore. At its core, his message taps into a primal hunger for polarity, the magnetic tension between masculine and feminine energies that modern society has worked over time to erase. He argues that equality doesn't mean sameness, and in blurring the lines, we've created a dating apocalypse where men are directionless, and women are disillusioned. His alpha-beta rhetoric, while reductionist, strikes a chord with men who feel emasculated by a world that often rewards sensitivity over strength. But here's the real question. Why does this vision of traditional gender roles, however controversial, resonate so deeply in an age of supposed progress? The answer lies in human nature. We've replaced courtship with swiping, commitment with casual hookups, and emotional intimacy with transactional OnlyFans subscriptions. Tate's critique of this hollow marketplace isn't just about blaming women, it's about exposing how both sexes lose when connection becomes a commodity. His solution? Men must first become men, disciplined, driven, and worthy of respect, before demanding anything from the opposite sex. There's a brutal honesty in that. You can't lament the lack of traditional women if you're not a traditional man. But this is where the conversation gets dangerous. When does confidence become toxic arrogance? When does leadership tip into domination? The line is thinner than most realize. The psychological pull of Tate's stance isn't about putting women in their place. It's about giving lost men a script in a play where the rules have been erased. But scripts can become cages if followed blindly. True polarity isn't about control. It's about complementary strength. A king isn't truly powerful because he dominates his queen, but because his presence inspires her to shine. So before you swallow any ideology whole, ask yourself, are you seeking a partner or a prop for your ego? Building high standards starts within. The irony? The more you focus on becoming someone worth choosing, the less you'll need to demand anything at all. The best relationships aren't power struggles, they're dances. And every great dancer knows, the strongest lead makes his partner look good. Andrew Tate's Matrix metaphor isn't just borrowed from sci-fi, it's a psychological battle cry. He paints modern society as a system designed to keep you docile. Schools that train compliance over critical thinking, jobs that trade your time for just enough money to stay dependent, and media that floods your mind with fear and distraction. The goal? To make you a passive consumer of content, of ideology, of a life you didn't consciously choose. But here's the gut check. How much of your daily routine is truly yours? From the moment you wake up to the endless scroll before bed, how much is programmed versus purposeful? The Matrix resonates because it names the unease so many feel but can't articulate, that we're living someone else's script. Rebellion isn't about leather jackets and anarchy. It's about reclaiming your attention, your time, your mind. Modern culture doesn't control people with brute force. It seduces them into surrendering their power. Emotional manipulation is the real virus. Outrage porn that keeps you addicted to drama, self-help platitudes that mask hard work, and a victimhood industrial complex that profits from your helplessness. Tate's escape plan isn't about luxury cars. It's about laser focus. Who benefits when you're distracted? Who loses when you start thinking for yourself? But true freedom isn't just rejecting the system. It's building your own. Escaping the Matrix means waking up to the fact that you are the architect of your reality. Every hour wasted, every excuse embraced, every lie you accept as truth is another chain. The inspirational twist? You don't need to rage against the machine to break free. You just need to choose. Choose where to direct your energy. Choose what to believe. Choose to own your days like a man owns his destiny. The system's greatest trick was convincing you that you're powerless. The moment you realize that's the only lie that ever mattered, the Matrix cracks. So ask yourself, what's one belief you've never questioned? One habit that serves the system, not you? The door isn't locked, it never was. You just forgot you could walk through it. Motivation is a spark, bright, exciting, and utterly unreliable. It fades the moment life gets hard, the moment you're tired, the moment the world doesn't cheer you on. But discipline is the furnace that keeps burning long after the spark has died. Andrew Tate didn't build an empire on fleeting bursts of inspiration. He built it on the unglamorous daily grind of showing up when no one's watching. That's the brutal truth most men avoid. You don't need to feel like it to do it. The gym isn't won on days you're pumped, it's won on days you're drained but go anyway. Success isn't about waiting for the right mood, It's about creating the right systems. Masculine energy doesn't flourish in chaos. It thrives on order. Ancient warriors didn't roll out of bed and win battles. They drilled, they trained. They honed their minds and bodies with relentless routine. Why? Because discipline is the ultimate form of freedom. It's freedom from your own excuses, from the tyranny of your moods, from the chaos of an unplanned life. Neuroscience backs this. Every time you choose discipline over impulse, you rewire your brain. You train it to crave progress over quick hits of dopamine. Reading, lifting, building. These aren't just tasks. They're rituals that forge a stronger version of you. Here's the wake-up call. If you don't structure your day, the world will structure it for you. And the world doesn't care about your potential. It will fill your hours with distractions, your mind with noise, and your life with regrets. The choice is yours. Will you be the architect of your discipline or the prisoner of your laziness? Ask yourself, what's one thing you can commit to daily, no matter how you feel? That's where true power begins, not in motivation's fleeting high, but in discipline's unshakable resolve. The path to greatness isn't a sprint of inspiration, it's a marathon of grit. Start today. The man you'll become is waiting. Andrew Tate's philosophy is like a spotlight, harsh, glaring, and impossible to ignore. It cuts through the fog of modern complacency with brutal clarity, but that same intensity casts long shadows. Yes, his extremes reveal uncomfortable truths, that society has softened men, that victimhood is a trap, that discipline is the bedrock of freedom. But extremism, by nature, lacks balance, and balance is where wisdom lives. So the question isn't whether Tate is right or wrong. It's what can you take from his message without losing yourself in the dogma. The gold in his rhetoric isn't the bluster or the bravado. It's the uncompromising call to own your life. Responsibility, strength, resilience. These are universal virtues, whether you're a CEO or a school teacher. But the danger lies in mistaking aggression for power or arrogance for confidence. True strength doesn't belittle others. It elevates them. Real masculinity isn't threatened by emotional depth. It commands it. The challenge? To sift the diamonds from the dirt. Take the relentless work ethic, but leave the dehumanizing ego. Keep the fire to achieve, but don't let it burn away your humanity. This is your final test. Don't swap one set of chains for another. If Tate's message wakes you up, let it be the spark, not the ceiling. Build your own code, one that's rooted in strength but tempered with wisdom. The world doesn't need more followers. It needs thinkers who can extract the lesson without worshiping the teacher. So ask yourself, what parts of this philosophy make you stronger? What parts make you smaller? Your life isn't a template, it's a work in progress. Start with discipline, aim for mastery, but never stop questioning. The goal isn't to be Tate. The goal is to be you, fully unleashed, fully accountable, and fully awake. This is just the beginning. Where you go next is up to you.